Now 16 books into my reading goal for the year. 4 books. I know, you just set yearly goals that you never looked at again and you just lived your life and you enjoyed every moment. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, which was my 5-star. This reset feels a little bit wishy-washy. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to my March reset and February wrap-up video. Last month I did this for the first time and you guys seem to enjoy me mixing the two together, so I'm back again mixing the two together. So we're going to be covering things like my February reflection in terms of general life stuff and goals, as well as my reading, telling you the books I read in February, telling you what my stats were, going through my February reading journal, as well as then kind of like looking forward to the month ahead. We're going through March goals, what my March reading journal looks like, and kind of my hopes and dreams for the month ahead, because I haven't been feeling the best lately. I've felt very kind of like meh. Very unmotivated, very kind of undedicated to my goals. We'll get into that in a minute. And I'm just ready for a new month. I'm sat in my desk chair again spinning because I felt very fancy with my planner open and things. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with the February reflection. So in February, I set myself some tasks as well as goals to try and complete, and I did well in the task section. So my tasks for February were to contact the solicitors regarding our wills. If you've been following my channel since the beginning of the year, you know me and Mark want to sort out our wills this year, and we are making good progress. We actually have an appointment with one of the solicitors this afternoon, which is really exciting. So yes, it happened in March, but I contacted them, emailed them, booked in the appointment in February. So yes, we can tick off that task. The next task was to finalise our downstairs bathroom renovation, which we have done. And once again, because I haven't been feeling 100%, I did tick off the final task within this kind of like broad task today, which was to order the prints and frames for our downstairs bathroom. We've gone for an F1 and a Friends themed print each, so kind of like really showing both our personalities. We both love Friends, we both love F1. So yeah, definitely like just kind of like a fun way to kind of like spice up the downstairs bathroom a little bit. So those prints and those frames are ordered, so the downstairs bathroom is officially complete, which was another task we wanted to get done in February. My next task was to save $200 towards $200. Oh my god, I've been watching too many Americans do these reset videos. To save £200 into my car fund, which I have done, which is great. And then the final one, which I didn't do, was to go to badminton again with Mark. Just our weekends are getting pretty full for some reason. I don't know, I definitely have a social life this year, and I don't know if I'm happy or sad about that fact, because I don't have many weekends to chill. Obviously I love celebrating and seeing my friends and family, but yeah, I want more weekends to chill for sure. And that may be why my routines are getting a little bit out of whack, just because I'm spending so much time socializing and I'm very much an introvert, and therefore I need to get my energy to reset and kind of like recharge my soul with independent time. And yeah, I'm not getting a lot of that at the weekends at the minute, so hopefully in March we can kind of like settle down a little bit. So we didn't go play badminton, but I do want to try and do that again at some point. It's not a goal for March, but I wish I'd done it in February, but alas, it didn't happen, and that's absolutely fine. So out of the 4 tasks that I set myself for February, we completed 3, which is great. And 2 of the main things as well, like completing our downstairs bathroom and contacting the solicitors about our will, those are big things. So yeah, very happy about that. Started off with a positive, going down to a negative. My February goals were completely, they were good goals. I was excited to try and accomplish them, but they just didn't happen. So my first goal was to go on 3 walks with Mark. It didn't happen. I knew, as soon as I said 3, I knew it wasn't going to happen, because that was 3 weekends out of the 4 that we had in February, and I knew I was busy for 2 of them. So I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I still trying to set that goal, and it just didn't happen. The weather hasn't been great. We're still in winter. I have the window open today because I want to get some fresh air, because I feel very like holed up and ready for some brighter days, and we're just not getting that. So 3 walks didn't happen, but we did go on a really nice long walk last weekend, which was lovely, and just always re-inspires me. I need to do walks more often with Mark. They're one of my favourite things to do with him, and we just don't prioritise it like we did anymore. So although it didn't happen, we did go on one. It was a lovely walk. Alas, it didn't happen. My next goal was 5 Pilates classes a week and 2 spin. Just cancel me now. No, it didn't happen. What I did find is that I found out that I really do enjoy moving my body in the way of like Pilates and yoga, so I do want to start incorporating those types of workouts into my workout routine. I always love spin. I love doing spin, and I did consistently do spin up until this last week, and I think I've realised that unless I'm following Sydney Cummings, who is my favourite YouTube workout program person, I don't tend to like sticking to exactly what workout I'm doing each day. I like having the flexibility. I like waking up being like, yeah, you know what, I fancy spin, like, or you know what, spin, I'm not feeling 100%. I know spin isn't going to be the best thing for my body right now. Let's just do some stretching, let's do some yoga, let's just move my body in some way, maybe even go for a walk. So I think I've discovered that unless I'm following Cindy Cumling's workout, which I will be doing in May, June and July because their Summertime Fine programme, fingers crossed, should be coming back, I'm just going to kind of like go with the flow and just hopefully get some sort of spin, Pilates, walking, yoga movement in every week. And we'll get into my March goals in a bit. The next goal was to journal every single day in my A6 journal, and I started off strong with this one. I think the reason why I haven't stayed consistent with this journal is because I don't really know what I want this journal to be. I thought I wanted it to be a kind of like daily memory capture, and I think I do, because in my scrapbook this year I'm just doing big moments. So this is the perfect way to kind of like encapsulate like a day or two of like what I was feeling, what the weather was like, what I was wearing, what I was doing, and it is a great way to do that, and I do enjoy doing it when I prioritize it. But just this month in February, clearly my word of the month wasn't prioritize, because I didn't prioritize anything this month, sadly. But I did start off strong. I did my dad's birthday and our anniversary, and I love how the spreads came out. And then I decided that I wanted to use it for gratitude, and then I tried doing some gratitude, and I don't like how it looks. I don't like having 3 days in one, and I just don't like how it looks. So I need to still figure out exactly what I want to use this journal for, and I think that's why I'm struggling to journal in it, because I don't really know what the purpose for it is, whereas I know what the purpose is for every other one of my journals. So I need to find a purpose for that one, and I do think it will be daily memory capturing. I just need to prioritize it again and dedicate some time, whether it's in the morning or whether it's in the evening, to actually sit down and journal and just have a little bit of creative freedom in terms of like stickering and washi tape and lettering and all that fun stuff. So I didn't get that one done, so I have not fully completed any of my goals. I've done some of them for a little bit, but I haven't completed any of them like all the way through the month. And my last one was to do 2.5 bottles of water every single day. I did get a new water bottle in the hopes of accomplishing this one. So I got a new one that actually tells me exactly how much I'm drinking, and in terms of actually drinking more, yes, I'm doing that, but I'm still only drinking 2 bottles a day. I think it's still because it's winter, and I'm still not in the mindset of like having to drink more because it's hotter and I get dehydrated quicker. So 2 bottles in the winter I think is fine for me, and I don't know why I thought pushing it to 2.5 would be beneficial for me, because I don't think I did it actually a single day, maybe bar like the 1st of Feb. So in March, I'll get to it in a second, but my March goals, I'm not doing 2.5 bottles. Nah. So those are all my goals. A complete whopping fail. But that's fine. February wasn't the best month. I had some great things happen. I went on my auntie's hen do, I celebrated my dad's birthday, me and Mark celebrated 6 years together and a year engaged. I had my first packet of mini eggs. I read my first 5-star of 2024, which was Divine Rivals, and I'll get into my books in a second. And the main thing is that the days started getting lighter, and I was going to work in the light and I was leaving work in the light as well, which also just massively perks me up every single day, knowing that I'm not spending my entire day in the office in fluorescent lighting, and then when I leave the office it's pitch black, and when I go to work the next day it's pitch black. So it's nice that we know spring is on its way. But in terms of like my goals and my personal kind of like focuses, I didn't do so well in February. That may be because I kind of fell into a reading slump in February. If you've been following obviously all my like reading vlogs and stuff across the month, you know this, that I kind of fell into a reading slump the last like 2-ish weeks of February, and I'm not fully out of it. I have still read a solid amount in February, but I definitely have hit a slump. And I do find that because reading is such a focus of my life, like I do find like I do a lot of things around reading. Obviously I create content, I make my evening routines around reading, and it's just like there's such a pivotal point in my life that is focused around reading, that if I get into a slump, all my other routines kind of like do a domino effect and it all start to fail. And I don't know if that's just me or whether it's like kind of like a reader problem, I don't know, but as soon as my reading habits kind of fall off the wayside, everything else seems to fall off the wayside. But speaking of books, let's hop into my February wrap up. So let's start off by going through my February spreads in my reading journal, just kind of like see how my month kind of planned out. So I read a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books in February, which is still really good, but I did hit a slump. The fact that I still read 7 books is really good. I'm now 16 books into my reading goal for the year, and I did manage to complete some of my 2024 reading goals. I finished 2 more fantasies, I read a Page Toon book, and I also finished off the I Heart series by Lindsay Kelk. So in terms of like my 2024 reading goals, I've done really well in February. And then let's go into my pages of pixels. And as you can see, where there's a black line, it's kind of like where I didn't read any pages that day. So I say I was in a slump, but I think I'm probably in a slump because the lowest numbers are obviously all in yellow and then kind of like maybe orange. I definitely hit a slump. A similar sort of time as January, actually. I kind of got into a little bit of a slump in January as well, but I didn't class it as a slump because I was still reading, just not as much because I was really busy. However, in February, it definitely felt slump compared to like, I'm just busy, I don't have time to read. So it's weird that I'm seeing patterns already, that we're only 2 months in to the year kind of 3, that I'm seeing patterns in my reading. Like I start off really strong and then I kind of like dip and then I get a bit better again. It's really interesting. So I'm excited to see how this spread continues to turn out. In my physical TBR, I managed to read 7 books, like I said, in February, and I only hauled 6. And that is very, very gratefully down to other people and not myself, which is exciting. So it's nice to see my haul kind of line go down a little bit because I did haul a lot of books in January. I still haven't finished this spread. I did get a 5-star in February, but I still haven't filled it out just because I think I might wait till the end of the year to print all the covers of my 5 stars off together, because in case I have like more than 16 5-stars and I have to pick the best of the best, I just kind of want to wait it out a little bit. I did manage to tick off 2 more books, I think, or maybe 1 more book off my 2024 TBR, and that was Only Love Can Hurt Like This by Paige Toon. Yes, I read the rest in January. So yeah, 1 more book off my 2024 TBR. I filled in my social media tracker. I increased a good amount in my YouTube subscribers in February, and I'm really excited the fact that I've hit 2,500 subscribers. It's taken me a 1.5 years to achieve, but I'm really happy with that stat, and I'm so grateful to every single one of you. Instagram, not so much, especially seeing as my weekly kind of reading reels do so well. I'm kind of disappointed in that number jump, but it's okay. We'll get there. We went to go see 2 films in February, Iron Claw and Migration, as well as the Bob Marley film One Love, which I need to do a doodle for. We started watching Drive to Survive, which we also finished, and we also started watching Masters of the Air, which I haven't filled out yet on Apple TV. We don't need to go through January again. So this is February. This is what my overall dashboard looked like, and I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. But once again, in March, I have switched it up. So my best day, because I wrote down, was Monday the 12th at 258 pages, which is incredible. I don't know what I was reading at that time, but clearly a lot. And then this is kind of where I hit my slump, and my worst days. It wasn't just one day, it was the 18th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd and 24th, when I didn't read anything at all. And in terms of my stats, I read 5 physical books, 1 ebook, 1 audiobook. I read 1,857 pages against 24 hours and 64 minutes read via audiobook. I had 3 romances, 3 contemporaries and 2 fantasies this month. On average, the page per day was 64, which I don't think is too bad because I always try and do 50. So my average is still really good and really strong. And I had 1 2.5 star, 3 3.5 stars, 1 4-star, 1 4.5 and 1 5-star. I don't love how these 2 spreads turned out. I don't like how much space is with my TBR and my hauled. So that has changed for the month of March. As you can see, I didn't get around to really good actually. I DNF, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and I read the rest of my TBR, so not too shabby. And I very kindly got gifted 6 books this month. Yeah, I have to do calculations. 6 books, all from Claire and Kayla, which I'm very grateful for. And these were the books I read. I read Divine Rivals, Roof of Vows, Long Game, Geekerella, The Vanishing Half, Only Love Can Hurt Like This, and I Heart Hawaii. I thought I was going to read 1 more book, so I drew in another square, but I didn't get around to it. And then this is kind of what my reviews are currently looking like, and I actually haven't got many of my covers printed out because I've run out of printer paper. And the printer paper I do use for my HP Sprocket used to be £25 for 50 sheets. It's now gone up to £35 for 50 sheets. I'm holding a little bit of a grudge, but once I'm over that, I will order some more and I will get the rest of my covers printed. But I have yet to get those covers printed. And now I thought we might as well just go straight into March. My March reading journal looks like this. This was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest, so it's not my own design, but I'm really happy with how it came out. And then this is what my dashboard this month looks like. So it's changed every single month so far because I still haven't found the best way to do it so far. Until I've used this one, January is still my favourite dashboard because I just love how it looks with it all filled out with all my covers, but I like my covers being bigger. So I've experimented once again because I really liked having my stats on my February page. So I've kind of mixed the two together. I've mixed January and February's together to get March's. So let's kind of see how March's turns out. But once again, we have my page count per day, which is always the same, broken down by 25 page increments. My goal is always 50, but hopefully I always read more. And then I have my TBR on one side. And I really didn't like the fact that my TBR and hauled were on the separate page. In February, there was too much space. I didn't like it. I didn't need this much space. So I've kind of combined them here. So I've got my TBR on one side and I've got my hauled on the other. So I can easily see if I've read more or less than I've hauled. So hopefully it'll be more books read than hauled, but who knows, with the generosity of people as well as my own bank balance. And then because I really liked having my stats visible on my February dashboard, like I just said, I have done it here. But what I found I made a boo-boo with in February was I didn't do half stars. So these tallies next to the 3-star were all 3.5 stars, but I didn't have a 3.5 stars to mark, so I had to do them all in 3 stars. So I made that amendment in March and I've got half stars. So hopefully this will work out a little bit better for me. I've still got my number of pages total, as well as my average pages, as well as my best and worst. I have got rid of pie charts. I don't like them. I like the physical ebook and audiobook little stat, but I don't think I need the pie charts. I got them on Corepile. I don't need them physically written down. And then finally, this is a new page. So we're going to see how this one turns out. This is a place for my favourite book of the month, and the title, the author, the page, and the rating. And then I don't know what I'm going to do down here. We'll see. I haven't decided. I don't think I'm going to be keeping this page. It's just that my biggest gripe with this papier reading journal is that it doesn't lie flat. As you can see, my hands are away from it. It doesn't lie flat, so it makes it really, really difficult to draw on the left-hand side of the notebook, because I always have to hold it up to be able to keep it down, and no matter how much I try and push the spine, I'm really trying to like push it, it still doesn't lie flat. So I won't be using this journal again if I use another reading journal next year, because I just don't like how it doesn't lie flat. My Scribd and Dot journals always laid flat, and I liked using my left-hand page just as much as my right-hand page, but now I always need to make sure my doodles for my books I've read in that month are on the right-hand side, so it's easier for me to draw on, because it's actually really difficult for me to draw and write on this side of the notebook, and I just hate the fact that it doesn't lie flat. So that's my little gripe, but that is what my March spreads look like. Hopefully they work for me, and hopefully soon I'll find a way that really works for me and my spreads can start to stay a little bit more consistent. But I'm really enjoying experimenting and seeing what works for me from month to month. So let's now talk about all the books I read in February. So the first book I finished in February was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, which was my 5-star of the month and my first 5-star of 2024, which is so exciting. This is a YA fantasy romance book with the connection of a magical typewriter. So I saw Chloe describe it as magical realism, and I actually think I would agree. I think it's more magical realism romance than it is fantasy romance, but it's obviously being categorized as fantasy because romantasy is very, very big right now, and I absolutely adored this book, hence why I gave it 5 stars. This book basically follows 2 main characters, Iris and Rowan, who are work rivals at a local newspaper, and they both are up for the same promotion at their job. They're both journalists, and then when one of them doesn't get the job promotion, they decide to write for the war correspondence instead, and then their kind of connection is between magical typewriters, and the story evolves from there. And I had so much fun with this book. It was just, what really made me love this book was the character development, the character romance, the character connections, and it was such an interesting take reading about like magical typewriters. The fantasy world wasn't really there for me. It definitely felt like the reason the author had a fantasy element in this book is because she wanted to use this connection with the magical typewriters, and without having like gods at war and having this kind of like fantasy world, magical typewriters didn't really make sense, so therefore she had to build some sort of fantasy world, which I don't think she did very well, in order to have this magical typewriter situation, which was the strength of the book, but also the weakness, because without having a fantasy world you couldn't have magical typewriters, and I don't think fantasy world was very good. I never really cared about the war. All I cared about was the characters and what would happen to the characters and the characters' connections and the character storyline, and therefore I just kind of wish it wasn't a fantasy book, because what made it fantasy wasn't very strong. It wasn't its strong suit, if that makes sense. So yes, love this book. Would highly recommend it, and definitely rate it amongst kind of like one of the more popular booktube BookTok books, and it was my 5-star of 2024, so really, really exciting. So then I went straight into reading Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This didn't get a 5 stars, this got a 4-star. Yeah, it got a 4-star. I was trying to think if this was my 4 or my 4.5, but it was my 4-star of the month. I didn't enjoy this book as much because you didn't get as much kind of like connection between the two main characters in this book. You had to go straight into this book having read the ending of Divine Rivals to get any sort of closure, because otherwise I think it could have been a really strong standalone. I don't really think you needed the sequel. I still really enjoyed it, still really enjoyed my time with it, but it wasn't as strong as the first book. It didn't feel as magical, and I think it's because of, without spoiling it, something that happened in the first book and the ending made the plot lead in this direction, but I don't think it was a very strong plot because you didn't get the connection with the characters as much as you did in the first one, and that's all I can say without spoiling it. So enjoyed it. It's a good duology. It's one of my favourite fantasy duologies. It's my only fantasy duology that I have read and loved, so take that with a pinch of salt. I did really enjoy this duology and had a fun time reading it. This one's definitely a hell of a lot stronger than the second one. Maybe I went into it too quickly, I don't know, but I read Divine Rivals and Rufus Vows in February. I was then ready to not read any fantasy. Obviously you guys know I'm not a fantasy reader. I'm trying to get into fantasy this year, so reading 2 fantasies back to back was very intense for me, and it did take me quite a while to finish them off. But once I did, I was like, right, I need to go back into my comfort zone. My comfort zone is contemporary romance. Let's throw a bit of Disney in there. So I read Geekerella by Ashley Poston. This is the first book in Ashley Poston's YA Once Upon a Con trilogy. I've now read 2 out of the 3 kind of companion novels in this little trilogy, and I think I enjoyed this one just as much as Bookish and the Beast. This one definitely follows a very, very strong connection to Cinderella. Compared to Bookish and the Beast, it's kind of like a little bit of a hint of Beauty and the Beast, but not really, whereas this one is very much like a straight comparison to Cinderella, and it basically follows our main character, Elle, who works in a magic pumpkin food truck, and she has, her dad's passed away, she has a evil stepmother and 2 very snobby, stuck-up, selfish stepsisters, and she is obsessed with a fictional Star Wars type of fan fiction fandom universe. So in order to kind of get out of her life that she hates because of her evil stepmother and ugly stepsisters, more just selfish and self-absorbed, she decides to enter the dressing up competition at the Comic-Con that's happening in this year, and a romance kind of ensues from there. And I had a really fun time reading this. I definitely will be keeping it on my shelf so it matches with Bookish and the Beast, and I gave it a 3.5 stars. I then read kind of 2 books simultaneously because one was an audiobook and one was a physical book. Let's go with the audiobook first. I listened to The Vanishing Half. Can everyone just give me a clap? I finally finished this book. This book is no longer on my physical TBR. This book has been on my physical TBR since like 2021. Yay! So I'm so happy to have finished it, but once again I gave it a 3.5 stars. I did a whole reading vlog featuring Geekerella, The Vanishing Half, and Only Love Can Hurt Like This if you want my full thoughts. But this one was really, really interesting, and it's definitely very thought-provoking. It follows twin sisters who grow up in a very, very small southern American town, and then they get bored of this town. They want to run away from it because they want bigger things. They both run away to the city together, and then they lose contact and they start living different lives. One of them lives a very truthful life, and she ends up moving back to her small town where she grew up because she got abused by her husband, so she runs away, so she moves back to her small town and she doesn't really know what to do with her life. And the other twin sister ends up secretly passing as white, marrying a white man, having a white child, and living in a very white privileged village. And it's about kind of like how those 2 storylines intertwine. And what I loved more about this book was not the twin sisters, but the connections that they had further down the line. And I don't want to spoil anything, but if you don't want any spoilers at all, then skip to the timestamp. But you basically follow, in the second half of the book, you follow the twin sisters' daughters and how they start to interlink, and that was the most fascinating part of this book. This wasn't my favourite to read in terms of like entertainment value, but I definitely see why everyone loves this book so much. I gave it a 3.5 stars because I loved like the intertwining of the storylines and the characters. I just think the writing style wasn't really for me, so I don't think I'll be picking up any more Britt Bennett, but I loved kind of like the synopsis and the plot and the character intertwining and the character development and all that sort of fun stuff. So yeah, maybe if I read it physically now I know the understanding of the book, I probably might enjoy it more, so I think I might keep it on my shelf. This might be a half a world away situation. If you know, you know. And at the same time I was physically reading Only Love Can Hurt Like This by Paige Toon. This was her second latest release. Paige Toon releases so many books that I lose count, but it's one of her more recent releases. It's one of Chloe's favourite books of last year, and I can see why Chloe loves this book, but for me this book wasn't the starring role that Paige Toon usually has in my life. I love her other books more. This was a good book. It's a 3.5 star for me. Basically follows our main character Ren, who sees her husband emotionally cheating. He doesn't actually do anything physically, but she realizes that they're not made for each other, so she ends up running away to America where her dad lives. So she used to grow up in America, and then when her mum and her dad split up, her mum moved her back to the UK, and she's grown up in the UK ever since. And she goes out to visit her dad in America every so often, and she goes out to America to spend some time away, regather her thoughts, get over her ex-husband, etc. So her dad owns a farm, and she ends up bumping into the other farmers who own the other half of the land and have another farmhouse son, and a romance ensues from there. The other character, Anders, lost his wife, and Ren and Anders kind of connect over something they've both lost, and a romance ensues from there. I enjoyed it. I love Paige Toon's writing. It's so easy to read through her books, but the connection with this story just wasn't there for me, so I gave it 3.5 stars. Still enjoyable, still recommend Paige Toon always, but I do prefer other Paige Toon books such as 5 Years From Now and The Ones We Fell in Love With. The last book I read in February, I finished another series. So I finished 2 series this month, which is very impressive. I Heart Hawaii by Lindsay Kelk. I've been rereading this series for about 2 years now, and I finally completed it. Although, like, also sad because I have completed the reread of one of my favourite series and characters and worlds ever. These aren't the most perfectly written books. I say this every time I review them. Like, don't go in expecting a literary masterpiece, but oh my god, they just give me that warm, fuzzy feeling. I love Angela, I love all the characters. James and Jenny and Louise, they have my heart. I love them so much. I've even forgotten to say Alex and Alice and Angela's parents, and just the whole I Heart gang just have my heart, and I absolutely love this series. There are definitely duds in the series. I think the lowest rated book I think I've given the series is a 3.5 stars, and the highest being a 5. My favourite book will still always be I Heart New York. Absolutely love it, but this is a close second with 4.5 stars. I couldn't give it a 5. There was a little bit of a slow moment in the middle where I was like, I don't know if it's going to get a 5 star, and obviously it didn't. It got 4.5 stars, but I love the ending. I love how she wrapped up this entire series. Like, it's an 8-book series. You go on a lot throughout these books. And yes, they're like a little bit like far-fetched, and they're a little bit crazy, and they're a bit funny, and but they just capture your heart. And I absolutely love this series, and I'm really sad to say that I won't have another book in the I Heart series on my TBR in the near future, because I'm not going to like start rereading all over again just for the sake of it. But I absolutely adored my time rereading the series, and this is definitely my second favourite book in the series. I just think Lindsay Kelk did a perfect way of wrapping up the series, and I really, really enjoyed my time reading it. And as you can tell, I tabbed it all up, and now it's all 8 books are now part of my forever collection, all tabbed up and written in for me to keep forever, and I'm very, very happy about it. So if you were counting, I read 7 books in February and I hauled 6, so let's quickly go through those. So I did actually haul 6 books in the month of February, but I didn't spend a single penny. So a massive, massive shout out to Claire and Kayla for gifting me some books. Like, you guys did not have to, but I'm so, so excited to read all of these, and some of them have actually made my March TBR. If you haven't seen my March TBR video, I'll link up above and down below for you guys to watch, but some of the books that they have kindly gifted me have already made my March TBR, so I'm going to try and read them all as soon as possible, some obviously sooner than others. But first, Claire very, very kindly gifted and brought me 4 books. I know, she's incredible. After seeing my wishlist video and seeing some of the books on there, she wanted to kindly gift me some, which I'm very, very much appreciative of. The first book she gifted me was Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This is an adult romance about a husband and wife who are getting divorced because they've gone through so many traumatic events, I believe, that love couldn't save their marriage, and it's kind of about that, about co-parenting and running a thriving business together. But they're always drawn back to each other, and now they're beginning to wonder if they're truly ready to let go of everything they once had. And I've heard incredible, incredible things about this book, and I'm really, really excited to get to it, so thank you very much, Claire, for this one. She brought me an entire duology. She brought me The Dance of Thieves by Mary Pearson duology, with Dance of Thieves being the first one and Battle of Thieves being the second one. I'm so excited to get to these. If you didn't know, Kiss of Deception by Mary Pearson, that whole trilogy, The Remnants Chronicles, is one of my favourite like fantasy trilogies, fantasy book series of all time, and I've been wanting to read the kind of spin-off companion series to that series for so long, and the fact I finally got physical copies of them, I'm so, so excited. So hopefully I can get around to them soon. But not only is the font tiny, but they're also very disguisedly big. They don't seem as big as they are. It is like 500 pages. So I don't know when I'll get around to them, but thank you very much, Claire, for gifting me a Georgie that I'm really excited to read. And then finally, the book that is made by March TBR that Claire also gifted me was a thriller, an adult thriller called Ghosted by Jen Ashworth, and this basically follows a kind of unreliable female narrator whose husband goes missing, and she doesn't report him for ages. So the police start to get suspicious, and like kind of like the mystery thrillery thing goes from there, and I'm really excited to read it in March. So thank you very much, Claire, for those 4 books. You did not have to. And then Kayla also saw my wishlist video and said, hey, I'm unhauling some of the books that are on your wishlist. Please might I send them your way so they can get rehomed. And I was like, oh my god, I'd absolutely love that. Yes, please. So she sent me A Million to One by Ajibba Gagira, which is a YA adventure type book. I know it's kind of based on the Titanic, and that's all I kind of want to know about it. It says 4 girls, 1 daring heist. What are their chances? And I'm really excited to get this. I love Ajibba Jagira as an author. I've read all of her books now, which is always amazing to say, and I'm really excited to get this one as well. So thank you very much, Kayla, for sending me one of your loved books. I'm really excited to read it. And then the other love book she gave me was Sophie Seller's The Burnout, which I'm really excited to read. Also made my March TBR, and this is an adult kind of contemporary book that follows our main character Sasha, who is getting a little bit burnt out, so she ends up going to Devon, getting a sabbatical from work, I believe, going to a Devon resort she loved as a child. It's the off season, the hotel's fallen apart, and now she has to share a beach with someone else, a grumpy, stressed out guy called Finn, and they realise they have more in common than they first think, and I'm really excited to read this one as well. So thank you very much, both of you, for gifting me books this month. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for adding to my physical TBR. So my physical TBR went down by 7 in February, but also went up by 6. So I have 1 less book on my physical TBR than I did at the end of January, which is always a good thing. Finally, let's hop into my March goals and the things I wish to achieve in the month of March. Do you remember a time when habit tracking wasn't part of content creation and it wasn't a pressure to do, and you just lived your life and you didn't have a habit tracker and you didn't have goals to keep going towards? You just set yearly goals that you never looked at again, and you just lived your life and you enjoyed every moment. Do you remember those times? Yeah, I'm starting to wonder whether goal setting and habit tracking really is for me, because every single month I come on to do these things and do these resets, and I love doing them and I love creating goals, but I never ever succeeded them. And every single month I come down to try and think of the goals I want to set for the month, and I always come up with the same things. I come up with basically goals around my daily habits, and those daily habits are things that keep me moving, that keep me motivated, that keep me alive and well and happy and healthy. And isn't that the main goal of life? To live your life healthy and happy in any shape and form that may be for you. And until like 3 minutes ago, I was going to sit down and talk you through the goals I was going to set for March, but I just don't think they're not worthy, but I just don't see the point in them. I really don't. They're drinking 2 bottles of water a day, they're moving my body every single day, but I think those things should be things you do every day to keep yourself happy and healthy. And I don't see why that all of a sudden, because it's trendy to do these monthly reset videos, it's trendy to have bullet journals, and it's kind of like the things that like clickbait and people click on because they are nosy and they want to see what other people are up to, that people end up setting goals, setting habits and stuff just for the sake of setting them. So I will quickly go through the things I want to accomplish in March, but take it all with a pinch of salt. I really just want to get back on track this month. So in February, I really lost my way because I fell into a reading slump. And like I said, if I fall into a reading slump because all my life is so pivotal around reading, I do find that it's a domino effect and the rest of my habits and routines kind of fall out of whack. And I definitely believe that's what happened in February. I got into a reading slump, kind of like just past the middle point in February, and I haven't really got back on track since. I am slowly getting back into reading, but it's not part of my routine like it used to be and should be. So I'm still trying to find my way around the rest of my routine. Not only am I out of my routine in terms of reading, I'm out of my routine in terms of my working out as well, because the last week and a half my wisdom tooth back here started to come through and it's causing me absolute agony. I'm taking like 4 sets of paracetamol a day, I'm doing salt water rinses, I'm really kind of like in agony, and it has woken me up a couple of nights and my sleep hasn't been good, so I've not woken up in a good way, and it's like a domino effect. So I've been really off my game. So I thought I'm stripping it back for March. This is before I was like had this revelation of like, why the fuck am I setting goals in the first place? Because they're all the same, they're always the same, they're always the same goals, and what's the point in setting the same goals when they're not making you achieve anything? So then I looked at my yearly goals, and my yearly goals are basically just to build on myself, and I'm like, Rachel, what? Clearly, am I actually a goal person? Do I need to rethink my entire identity? I don't know. But in terms of just to give you some clarity on what I want to work towards and build upon in March, is focus on my daily movement. My wisdom teeth has prevented me from working out because when I work out, especially with cardio heavy workouts such as spin, I tend to clench my jaw quite a bit, and I didn't want to aggravate my wisdom teeth any more than it already is kind of tender and sore and whatnot. So I haven't been working out last week and I miss it. I miss working out. I miss my morning routine. My morning routine is focused around working out, whereas my evening routine is focused around reading. So not reading and working out has caused my entire day, my entire routine, my entire week to be completely off track, and I don't like it. So hopefully I can get back into a daily sort of movement in March, even if, because it's March 1st I'm filming this, even if my today's movement, because I'm still not working out, my wisdom teeth still hurts, even if that is just going for a walk, getting some fresh air, even just stretching. So some sort of movement every single day in March, whether that's stretching, yoga, Pilates, spin, walking. One of those 5, once a day. Doesn't matter which, whatever my body feels like that day, I'm going to do it. Hopefully. That's my first goal, or first kind of like hopeful goal. The next one, like I said, is going back to 2 bottles of water a day. I upped it to 2.5 in February. I got a new water bottle to help me achieve it. 2 is enough. So 2 of these is 2 litres of water a day. Plus all my cups of tea that I have, I'm hydrated. It's fine. I don't need to up it to 2.5. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh, I need to set a new goal. I need to be exciting. Let's set something that I can build upon. No, I don't need to do that. So 2 bottles. This is the one where I'm like, right, I need to set a low bar and a high bar for this because I am a chocoholic, I am a sweetaholic, I am a give me sugar, I need it, especially when I'm like feeling a bit sorry for myself, i.e. with my wisdom tooth. So I need some low expectations for this goal, and that is to only treat myself on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. So treat myself on the weekends and be good in terms of my snacking and eating on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. It seems pretty doable, but you don't have a KD packet of mini eggs in the cupboard in your house, and you also don't have 3 slabs of fudge that fiance made at a fudge workshop with work in your house as well. So I need to consume those because I want to consume them, because life is all about balance, but I also need to be like a little bit more conscious. I'm kind of semi-setting myself a Easter end goal. So Easter is the end of March, the entirety of March, to really focus on my nutrition, because once again I always say this month I want to strip back to basics and really just focus on myself, and I say that every single month, which is why I started off with the intro of like, why am I even setting goals, because they're the same every single month and I still yet achieve them. I don't achieve them, so what's the point? But this is like the low bar. So if you don't know what this concept is, low bar and high bar, by Jashy Curran, I want to say is how you pronounce her name. She's an Australian productivity bullet journal, which I absolutely love, so I'll link her down below. She shared this concept where with a habit you set a low bar and a high bar. A low bar is something you know you definitely can achieve each day, and a high bar is something you want to achieve each day but you're not sure if it's going to actually be achievable. In terms of like my only treats on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, be good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, my low bar is if I can't be good that day and it's a Monday or it's a Tuesday or it's a Wednesday or Thursday, just one treat. Whether that's like a little handful of mini eggs, or I don't know, a little bit of chocolate or a little bit of fudge. That's my low bar. One sugary snack, processed sugar, not like fruit, a day. And then my high bar is like being really good and just snacking on good things like nuts and fruit and whatnot, and not having anything bar my dark chocolate that I have every single night, because I count dark chocolate as healthy. I don't know if that's a bad mindset, but that's my mindset. So those are my high bars and low bars. If I can't cope with it, then I'll scrap the goal, but I want to try, because we have Easter at the end of the month, and then we're going to be into spring and summer, and then we're going to Disney, and I want to feel good and look good for that trip. So I feel like March is a starting point. March is a turning point. We're the last month away from the first quarter, finishing the first quarter of the year, and I need to get my ass into gear, because I haven't really focused on myself at all this month, even though every single month I come on and do these videos and I say that I'm going to focus on myself, and yet I let a whole month pass and I don't. So that's that. And the last 2 is I want to floss every other day. This is upping from 3 times a week, because my retainers treatment is finishing in March. By the middle of March, I will no longer have to wear a retainer every single day, which makes me so happy. I'm so excited. I absolutely love how my teeth have come out, and it just makes me smile more, if you couldn't tell. So I'll only have to wear retainers at night, which is really exciting. So flossing every other day will just keep my dental hygiene at its peak and help keeping my teeth nice and straight and clean and shiny and pearly white, just because obviously I spent a lot of money getting my teeth the way they are and I want to keep them that way. I don't want to go back anywhere to sort things out in the future. So yeah, flossing every other day now rather than 3 times a week to keep up my dental hygiene, so pretty basic one. And the last one is to actually keep up my 1 second a day. I absolutely love doing 1 second a days. I did one in 2018, 2019, started one in 2020, didn't finish it because COVID hit and I was like, my life isn't interesting anymore, so I'm going to stop, even though the first half I got all the way up until June of 2020 and it's one of my favourite 1 seconds I've done. I'm so sad that I stopped it. And I didn't do one in 2021, and I didn't do one in 2022, I didn't do one in 2023 because I fell off the bandwagon of filming every day, and because I started my channel I found it hard to film clips on my phone and also vlog, and I'm finding that is a struggle in my 2024 one as well. Although I've done most days, I haven't done all days, and the days I haven't done something, I pray to God that I filmed something on my vlog camera so I have something to put in, because otherwise I wouldn't have a completed 1 second a day because I'm really bad at keeping up with it. So in March, if it's the only thing I do, I need to get a clip every single day. Every single day for my 1 second I need one for March, because I need to keep this going, because I have a really, really exciting year ahead. I've got JLS, I'm meeting Aston again, I'm going to Disney, seeing Jonas Brothers. Like, there's so many things to look forward to, and I don't want to film my 1 second a day. So March, one of my main goals is to make sure I film a second every single day, don't care what it is, so I can keep on track with my 1 second a day filming. And that is that. I'm just going to sign you out with this paragraph I wrote in my Notion page when planning out this video. Overall, I don't really know what I want to accomplish in March. I just know that I want to get back on track and focus on myself, but also prioritise rest because of my wisdom teeth and all sorts. I'm hoping with spring slowly coming, it'll fit me more with the nicer and brighter days. My word of the year is build, and I'm slowly building my online community, which I love. I hit 2,500 subscribers, which I'm so happy about, in February. And I'm slowly building my home and my future in terms of renovating my house and getting future things in place, i.e. wills. Like that I'm all on track with, like that's brilliant. It's just myself that I'm not. But I haven't really been prioritising myself. I'm not too sure what exactly that looks like, so this reset feels a little bit wishy-washy. So maybe halfway through a month I'll reevaluate and make some surgier goals, but right now I want to rest and recover, get my wisdom teeth no longer in agony, stop being lenient with myself with my habits and actually put some work in rather than being like, nah, I'll start tomorrow, because tomorrow's never guaranteed. It's now or never. And that is where I'm going to leave you. Maybe it's been inspirational for you to kick your own arse into gear, because I definitely need to kick my own arse into gear. And I can't ramble anymore because my lunch break is over, and I will see you for another video very, very soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a massive thumbs up and subscribe down below. Let me know what you read in February. Did you hit the February slump like I know a lot of people did? Let me know in the comments. What are some of your March goals? Do you feel as wishy-washy as me right now? Do you agree that goals and habit tracking stuff is just a way to create content and clickbait? I don't know. It's something that I need to think about more, I guess, because am I a person who wants to set goals? I don't know. But leave me comments, let's chat in the comments down below, anything that I discussed in today's video. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to see future content. I do anything from reading videos, journaling videos, and anything else in between, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future content, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.